Hi everyone, today on the Bird channel we'll be exploring the topic about the American Industrial Revolution by comparing it with the British Industrial Revolution. But of course, before we make a comparison between anything, we must understand its root cause. Why did it happen? In other words, what were the most important factors in explaining why the United States achieved such a remarkable industrial development and so quickly? To you, Ray.
Okay, so the United States achieved such a remarkable industrial development due to the geographic locations, varied incentives, and the immigration from varied countries. These were the main factors that led and sped up the Industrial Revolution in America. So first up, the geography. The United States possesses a large amount of oil, which oil can be used as an energy source to power machines, locomotives, and boats, and which can increase the efficiency of the transportation process, and also decrease the cost due to the abundant amount of the oil, which makes the price drop significantly. Rivers can be helpful towards transportation because water transportation costs significantly less comparing to the land transportation, since that the water current could facilitate the movement of the boats, which would make the energy source needed to power the boat free, unlike the land transportation. Therefore, this would decrease the cost of the transportation, thus having an increase in profit. There are a lot of rivers in the United States, as you can see in this picture. For example, the Missouri River, the Arkansas River, Ohio River, Tennessee River, and of course, the Mississippi River. The Mississippi River has been a great influence towards the Industrial Revolution in the United States. It provides clean water and food to the people who lives nearby. Also, due to the wide area and long distance, Mississippi River was extremely helpful for the transportation, since it connects to a lot of different rivers that also leads to many different states. In the Mississippi River was not only helpful towards the transportation, but also the power generation. The Mississippi River's water current was used to power the water mills, and which used to produce textiles and other manufacturing goods. Since the water current was a natural phenomenon, the power generation from the water mills were free energy, therefore decreased the cost of the manufacturing process and increased the profits. All these benefits from the geography of the United States made them wealthy and more capable of giving incentives for the citizens.
By 1898, there were 139 research labs in the US alone. The proliferation of the labs and the willingness of the industry to pay for them testifies to the competitive advantage and cost saving associated with increases in knowledge about materials and process used in the manufacturing enterprises. Governments gave large enterprises land to build factories and roads to produce more manufacturing goods and transportation like trains, which allowed the companies to grow larger. Furthermore, by doing so, they wouldn't have to worry about financial problems, which was a major problem relating towards innovations. However, by creating innovations to a certain extent, innovations were also a kind of incentives. For example, Samuel F.B. Morse, he invented the telegraph. Elias Howe and Isaac Singer invented the sewing machine. Thomas Alva Edison developed better light bulbs, improved telegraphs, and invented the phonograph, electric dynamo. And Alexander Graham Bell invented the first telephone. By inventing these innovations, the reduction costs would continue to decrease, such as the sewing machine, which would create more profit. By creating more profit, a surplus of money would be created, thus allowing these owners to become entrepreneurs. Immigration also created a huge consequence, resulting in the advancement of the Industrial Revolution because 14 million immigrants entered the United States. With the sudden increase in population, it created more workers and sped up economic developments because of the increase in the labor workforce. Furthermore, this caused overpopulation, which is the key factor in urbanization, which urbanization is also another key factor for the Industrial Revolution to occur. Next up, we'll be analyzing the similarities and the differences between the US and Great Britain's Industrial Revolution.
Now we will be moving on towards the similarities between the Industrial Revolution in the USA and the UK. First of all, the government. In the UK, there was a civil society and the government allowed the freedom of thought. The government also passed laws and support development and businesses. For example, the government passed the Enclosure Acts, which was a series of acts that enclosed open fields and common land in the country, creating legal property rights to land that was previously considered common. This allowed large-scale farming industries to prosper. Another example of laws that are passed were the Corn Laws. The Corn Laws were measures in the United Kingdoms between 1815 and 1846. The Corn Laws imposed restrictions on tariffs and imported grain. They were designed to keep grain prices high for the domestic producers. In the U.S., the government had the government provided the same freedom, and they also supported businesses. For instance, the government provided land and financial aid for the railroad industry, which also happens to be one of the most crucial industries during the Revolution in the United States. Moving on, the economy. In Britain, under a stable government with laws that protect the capital, entrepreneurs were encouraged to get involved in industrialization. Once the Industrial Revolution got going in Britain, investors and entrepreneurs started making money, causing a chain reaction with the economy feeding on its own success. Initial successes encouraged capitalists to invest more of their money in the expectation of earning interest or share in prosperous companies. Over time, more and more businessmen risked their capital in new ventures due to the obvious success of the growing economy in Britain. Entrepreneurs managed and assumed the financial risks of starting new businesses. In the United States, the Industrial Revolution, was encouraged by a large number of European specialists. Like Britain, the United States was seen as a land of opportunity. It was possible to rise from poverty to rich through industrial business. For businessmen, social mobility was easy. European specialists were attracted to the United States by the idea of great. Next on, natural resources. Both Britain and the United States were abundant in natural resources. Iron, coal, and waterways were common, and the three resources played a key role in driving the Industrial Revolution. Coal was a resource that was abundant in both Britain and the United States, and it was the most important source of energy during the time. In Britain, mines were near the sea, so coal can be easily transported by ships to the most important market, London. Similarly, in the United States, coal was abundant within the country, and that means that the economy of the United States would suffer no shortages. Similarly, iron, which was the main material used in industrial machinery, was also abundant in both countries. There were many rivers in Britain and the United States that played a role in driving the Industrial Revolution. In the years preceding the Industrial Revolution, water provided energy and was used as a form of transportation. Additionally, rivers and natural waterways helped in the construction of navigable canals across the countries. Canals were crucial to transporting and bringing goods to the market. They connected inland towns and coastal ports, and stronger bridges and harbors were built to enable the expansion of sea trade.
Steam engine is an invention that was essential for both of industrial revolutions. Robert Fulton's establishment of steamboat service marked the technological innovation of the United States. It had a high power-to-weight ratio which is suitable for transportation. In 1698, Thomas Savery, an English inventor, patented a device that allowed for the use of steam to pump water. The steam engine that he created was used to remove water from mines. Then it was improved by English engineer Thomas Newcomen in 1712. High-pressure steam engines had become compact enough to move beyond the factory, prompting the first steam-powered locomotive to hit the rails in Britain in 1804. There were also significant changes on the communication system and banking system. The development of communications through telegraphs made it easy for people to communicate. The revolution within the industry led to the rise of banks and many financial institutions, just as it led to factory systems that were dependent on the owners of the factories and managers.
Now we move on to the differences between the Industrial Revolution in Britain and the United States. The first difference we'll examine is the situation in both countries prior to the Industrial Revolution. In Britain, prior to the Industrial Revolution, there was an agricultural revolution. The agricultural revolution in Britain resulted in an increase in food production, capital, and a ready workforce. However, in the United States, there was no such thing such as an agricultural revolution. The American Industrial Revolution started after the American colonies gained independence. However, during this time, there was really no incentives for the American colonies to industrialize because there were simply too little people and too much land and too much resources. So they felt that there was no need to industrialize. Since the colonies in America did not feel an immediate need to industrialize, the Industrial Revolution in America really started after the immigration of a lot of Europeans. Next time, we will examine the major industries between the two countries. In Britain, industrialization was born with large-scale textile production, rather than the means of transportation. Large-scale textile production includes the invention of the water frame, the flying shuttle, and the spinning mule. Britain closely guarded its textile industry as it felt that it was the main reason that it industrialized first before the other countries. So it was a crime punishable by death to export parts or plans of textile operations. In the United States, however, the first major industry was transportation. Transportation was the first incentive that they felt that they needed to industrialize was that they feel that they needed a new system of transportation. The advent of major railroads and steamboats, together with the large-scale production of canals, shifted the industrial and commercial center of the nation from New Orleans to the major ports of Northeast, such as New York, Boston, and Philadelphia. Industrialization created something such as a nationwide market, as goods can be transported easily from one end of the nation to the other.